Hello and welcome to the How2Exit podcast. Today I'm here with John Prothro. He is the CEO of Foot Solutions, and we're going to chat about his acquisition of that and all the challenges and all the lessons learned and where he's going in the future. Thank you for being on the show, John.
You're welcome. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. I always start off with the origin story. My running joke is, and probably listeners are eventually going to get sick of this one, is you were born and then you ended up on a show about mergers and acquisitions. Can you kind of fill out the gap in between? How did you end up on a show like this?
I don't think you want the whole story. It's kind of a long one. And by the way, Ron told me right before the call that this was a video call, so I probably would have cleaned up a little bit more. But I got out of college having studied organizational communication because it sounded professional, I guess, and I expected I would go into consulting at some stage. Got into mergers and acquisition by doing post-merger integration planning for a large company, and then moved into the M&A advisory world, where we were doing sort of lower middle market transactions, mostly brokering, putting them together, but then working on the buy side a lot with some strategic buyers and just kind of learning along the way about how it's all done. And in the process, I started rolling some fees into some of the transactions that we really liked, that I really liked. Enjoyed that quite a bit. Wanted to be on the buy side, was invited by or asked by a client of ours to help them on the operations side about 5 years ago. So I moved out of M&A and went to work with a company that was in industrial distribution. So while I was there, I learned a little enough to be dangerous about operations. And when I was done with that project, really just basically a 3-year project to get some things done for that company, I started looking at raising a fund to buy a small portfolio. I'd seen it done several times, figured I could do it myself. And I had made some very good friends, very close colleagues in the M&A job. And I had figured, well, these guys know and trust me, and I know and trust them. So why not let's put some money together and buy a portfolio of businesses.
You told me before you turned on the mic there that it sounded like there was some other of your franchisees that were looking to retire. Is that one of the expansion opportunities you've seen? Okay, I can take the master franchise and then maybe bring some of the franchisees in-house, drive up the revenue a little bit more, and put money. Does that give you money to put back into the overall marketing and expansion of the whole franchise as a whole?
Yeah, that was the idea. So we weren't going to be attractive in terms of shareholder value, just collecting royalties from 60 locations in North America. That wasn't going to work. But I knew that because it was a 20-year-old brand, that several of the franchisees were probably looking to retire. And also we could open some corporate stores. So we've bought 5 locations so far, opened a few. And then we went to Florida and bought a competitor of ours in Florida, a company called Happy Feet Plus, which has been a good acquisition. And they were doing similar business to us, a little bit more retail, a little bit more fashion, but similar foot wellness sort of focus.
So everybody knows Foot Solutions and maybe even Happy Feet. Do they make shoes, or they actually make orthopedics to go in shoes? Or
Yeah, I'll back up a little bit. So Foot Solutions is a foot wellness brand. Our value proposition is that your feet are the foundation of your health. Let us take care of them for you. And so we carry healthy footwear and truly custom orthotics. So a lot of places you can go and get your feet scanned. A lot of that is just sort of retail theater. But our technology and our service is really based on a caring expert service. But it was a good situation. At the end of the day, it turned out to be overall fairly good for the business because we were a new ownership group. And the brand had kind of gotten off the reservation a little bit. A lot of the franchisees had started doing their own thing. And when crisis hits, it's a time to pull together. And so we did our best to really build a culture of collaboration and teamwork during that time. And we did a lot of the heavy lifting on the brand. We did a whole rebrand with a group that had worked with Audi and Facebook. And we spent a lot of the money and time that we were going to do over time. We had a whole year where we really weren't collecting anything, any cash, or having much to do besides try to navigate COVID. So we spent that time getting to know the franchisees a bit better, what they needed, and rebranding. And culturally, I think it was very good because when crisis hits, you want to know who's on your team and who's on your side. And I think we demonstrated to the franchisees that we were with them. Sure, I'm making that sound more simple than it is. But that would be the question, like, well, can I do this easy on my own, or do I need help doing it? And that's one of the reasons Foot Solutions was interesting to us, because there is a very high bar to entry. You don't really want to be a shoe store unless you have a big brand behind you, because you're not getting the discounts and you're not going to be successful usually. But on the custom orthotic side, you really have to have the expertise foundation, and we've got that and are able to train it. But in terms of what we're looking for in a franchisee, not to be flippant about it, but we need somebody to be very cashed up. I think one of the problems with the brand prior to us getting here was if you had enough money for the franchise fee in a heartbeat, okay, here you go, you're a franchisee. Without discussions, and I don't want to disparage the previous regime. Maybe there were discussions about working capital, but it didn't seem like it. And a lot of the franchisees, of course, failed because retail goes up and down, as does the economy. So we need somebody to be comfortable with the cash requirements.
So
Yeah.
everybody that walks in your door is grumpy, in my mind. So, so if you
Yeah.
had somebody in that just didn't deal with difficult people, then I could see where that would be a.
Well, I don't really want franchisees necessarily working in the store. It's the people that they hire that need to be cheerful and
Okay.
pull people back from the pain. Although it's fine if you want to own a franchise and work in the store, that's good too. In fact, that can be more successful because you know the market, you know the customers, and you're really controlling your own destiny. But yeah, you're exactly right. People come to Foot Solutions a lot of times for a reason. Our conversion rate's very high because typically you walked in there because you knew you needed something. You needed a solution. Although we do have quite a bit of walk-in customers that just want to buy a pair of Brooks or buy a pair of Birkenstock, and that's fine too. But the people who really need Foot Solutions come in there. They know what they're there for. They're wanting to spend the cash on getting their feet healthy and feeling good, and then they thank you for it. It's not a cheap service. Well, the service is free, but the product is not cheap. But they walk out feeling better, and they're able to get back on their feet, and they're happy for it. So we're really providing a service and helping people and getting paid for it, which is a real benefit.
We're running towards the top of the hour. If somebody could remember 2 or 3 things about your experience in the acquisition and merger space, what would you want to leave them with as far as takeaway for today?
People thinking about making acquisitions and growing through acquisitions. Well, for an individual business owner, I would say it's not as hard as it looks. I think it's really not rocket science. It just takes a lot of nerve, and it's a lot of extra work. But buying companies and building, as long as you got the right people in place, it can be done. If you're an owner and you want to make strategic acquisitions, you very much can do that.